Hello, niche website builders. How is everyone? Elena, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Just me and you today. Mark's off today, so you've just got pleasure of me and the lovely Elena, and hopefully the dog as well.
I have a dog. Only if we hit the target, which is 35 likes, you get Mudge and you get the puppy. Just to see the puppy, you're not getting
You
it.
don't get the puppy. Just you see his year to start with, and then if we
Yes,
hit the likes, then you get to see the full dog.
that's correct. This is the procedure.
How's things been? How's your week going?
Good. I ordered this big bag of puppy food. It was like, I think it's like 20 kilograms. It got delivered today, but I live on the third floor. I had to carry it, and I was like, the hardest thing I've done.
Oh my god, that's your gym exercise done for the week then.
But yeah, I have like dog food for a month now. Work-wise, good. As I said yesterday, I finished a case study that I look forward to sharing, and I'm working on some other case studies right now, potential. So I'm looking at some sites that we could potentially utilize for a case study. So exciting. And this is pretty much how my week's going. How about you? You had a tattoo on Monday, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a Tuesday, so I had more of my leg tattooed on Tuesday. And then I got really worried yesterday because it went really, really red. But
Really?
I Googled it and I probably landed on somebody's content like about tattoos. And apparently it's normal. So it's fine today. But I drew a line around the red. I marked what time I drew with a pen just in case it got bigger. I
Oh
felt
my
like a
god,
doctor, basically.
pretty scary.
But I'm in a different office today as well. So I'm back from Spain. And our house is not finished yet. So we haven't moved back in yet. So the temporary house I'm in doesn't have Wi-Fi, doesn't have a desk, it doesn't have a chair. So this is where it all started. This is literally that desk right there is where I met Mark almost 3 years ago. 3 years ago next month for the first time. Feels a bit cool reminiscing about that. But anyway, let's say hello to a couple of people in the chat. So hey Tony, now I'm back. I know I keep saying Tony, I'm gonna have to come down and see your new studio because you're only down the road. Hey, Carly, can't stay, but we'll enjoy the replay. So, welcome, Carly. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Sal from LinkedIn. I've been chatting to Sal on LinkedIn, so welcome. I think you're going to come back later and watch the replay. We've got Luke here. Luke is Chris's new right-hand man. If you don't know, Luke works for us. So, any questions in the chat, Luke will be able to answer and handle those. We've got Thorsten in here. Hey, Thorsten, actually spoke with Matt Rad this afternoon or this morning, and he mentioned you by name. So awesome to have you here. We've got Anton McCarthy here. Afternoon, Anton. JP, I'm not going to go through everyone, put them on the screen. We've got JP, we've got Daniel, we've got Carrie, Scott. Everyone, welcome to the show. And
Welcome to the show.
welcome to the show. Before we get into the meat of what we're going to talk about today, which is a case study from my own personal websites, and then Elena's going to do some age domain teardowns, just do a little bit of housekeeping. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The more likes and subscribes we get, the more people we can reach, and the more people we can reach, the better it'll be for everyone, because these shows are hopefully all about giving away our knowledge and teaching people how to do these things. 35 likes equals a giveaway. I don't have Mark on hand to do the hat on t-shirt kind of thing, but you've got a choice of hats and mugs and t-shirts. If you want to hit like, and we've got 35 likes for a giveaway. Also, quick reminder, we're running the Building Empires event in January, and this is where we're going to do 5 days of speakers all about building, buying, selling, investing in websites. So, and it's free. It's a virtual event as well. So head on over to buildingempires.live. And last but not least, if you ever want to use any of our services, head on over to the description. There's some links in there to get some coupons, 10% more content and 10% off any of the link building services. And that's it. That is my housekeeping done. So, I'll just dive straight into it. I'll bring up my presentation. I'm going to talk you through basically how I bought a website in April, what I've done kind of step by step from April to increase its value, and then why I'm not selling this one immediately like I have done with some of my other sites in the past. I'm actually going to keep working on it for the next 6 months or so. There's a very good reason why. So, without further ado, here's the lovely presentation I put again. So, as I said in the tin, I bought a blog in April 2022 for $71,000, and now it's worth $115,000 at the same multiple. And it's also generated about $17,000 in revenue since owning it. So from April through until now, it's generated about $17,000, pretty much all through display ads. There's a very small percentage from Amazon Associates. Most of it, I'd say 95%, is display ads. So, case study overview. I bought the website via a private deal flow in April 2022. This website I actually bought from somebody who I'd already bought a website from in the past, and I'd met them in the Facebook group, Niche Website Flippers. So I can't remember when it was, a couple of months before I bought this one. He was selling another website on the Facebook group. I reached out, and Facebook groups are awesome for buying and selling websites, especially kind of ones on the smaller edge, but there's a ton of rubbish in there, if I'm being completely honest. There's tons and tons of rubbish websites in there and a couple of gems, and I just so happened to stumble across this guy selling his first website. It was one of the gems. I bought it off him, and then he reached out a couple of months later and said, hey, you bought this site off me before. Are you interested in buying another one? And I looked at it and I said, yeah, this looks awesome. I definitely want to buy it. So that was in April, and these are the steps, and I'll go through all of them in more detail, but these are the steps I took, or the things I did in order to increase its value. So as soon as I took ownership of it, the first thing I did was increase the website speed, and I'll talk you through my 7-step process. I then optimized the website for display adverts. It was already generating revenue from display adverts before, but it wasn't super well optimized. It didn't have a ton of placements, etc. I then added some more content, and I'll kind of walk you through the schedule of that. And now I'm going to continue scaling it for an exit, hopefully next year, because it's in a somewhat seasonal niche, and it's now going into the lows. And I definitely don't want to sell it going into the lows. I want to keep growing it, and I want to hit that peak next year, and I want to sell it after or midway through the seasonal peak next year. So it's on and up, and it's a nice chart for whoever's going to come and buy it. So buying the website. These are how the numbers stacked up. So this is the revenue, pre-revenue when I bought it. So the seller only had details going back to August 2021, although the website is about 3 years old. So he only had limited amount of data. I don't think he was the original owner. I actually think it's more like a broker, where I think that's how I bought 2 sites off him. So it wasn't his website. He only had limited amounts of historic revenue data, but it was enough for me to make a decision. And obviously I had Google Analytics, and I could go back and see the historic traffic anyway. So August making around $1,600, September $2,500. Between September and October, so August and September was with AdSense, and then between September and October, the owner switched it over to Mediavine. There was also a big spike in October of traffic, and when I was looking through Google Analytics, one of the pages picked up an insane amount of Google Discover traffic, and that's what the big spike there was. It wasn't a kind of, I don't know, it's more like an anomaly month, to be fair. And I argued when we were talking about multiples that we should omit October's from the average, but what we did instead was just work on a lower multiple. So, and you can see there then that it was generating roughly around $2,000 a month. And we agreed on a 34x multiple at $71,000. This one was an interesting deal. I always recommend use escrow. Currently selling a couple of sites right now, and I'm using escrow for them because it protects both sides. This site, I didn't use escrow, believe it or not, and that is because the seller is in a country which doesn't support escrow. We tried it on the first deal, didn't work, and in that instance, I made him send me the website and the domain, and then I sent him the money afterwards. We did the exact same thing. There's a lot of trust goes on that part. I definitely don't recommend it, unless, obviously, in this case, I wasn't sending any money until I had possession of the website and the domain, and we agreed an inspection period as well. But I guess on his part, it's a big trust. I mean, he sent me the website, he sent me the domain, and then he let me free with it for like 14 days inspection or whatever it was. And there's no guarantee I'm going to pay him any money. Obviously, I would, because my reputation with niche website builders and in the community is worth a lot more than this, but still, it's a lot of trust on him. So that's the way the deal went down. We sent the money directly, and I bought the website and got hold of it end of March. End of April going into May. So the first thing I did when I took over the website was increase the site speed. And I mean, I don't know if this is a bit small. Hopefully you can see this, but this is basically my 7-step process for increasing website speed. The first one is, I mean, it's pretty obvious, is get some good hosting. I personally use WPX for my personal portfolio of websites, mainly because I've always used them. And prior to using Cloudways, I'd always use like a managed service, which WPX is. If you want them to go and add, your verification tag for Google Search Console as a DNS record to your website, you literally just go to WPX support and say, "Hey, can you add this?" And they'll do it for you. Or for the agency side, for all of our client sites, and Mark personally uses this one, we use Cloudways. We use DigitalOcean server with 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's good enough hosting. And you can get a Cloudways DigitalOcean server with 4 gig of RAM for around, I think it's $40 a month. And WPX, I think you can get 3 websites for $30 a month. So, I mean, it's not cheap, but when you're buying a website that's averaging $2,000 a month, having good hosting and getting the site speed up is probably, it's a good investment in my eyes. Fast theme, I almost always use Astra. This site was already set up on GeneratePress though, so I didn't bother changing it. The theme was already fast. I would almost always recommend either Astra or GeneratePress, the free versions. You don't even have to buy the premium ones. And I recommend these two mainly because they are free, obviously. They are lightweight and they're well supported. If you ever have an issue with GeneratePress or Astra, there's tons of support forums. People, I find almost always someone else has had the same issues that you're having, and it's really easy to diagnose. And I've just remembered while I'm going through this, if you've got any questions as I go through, just pop them in the chat and I'll come to them as we go. The third step, I'm only really starting doing this quite recently, is optimizing the logo size. And I don't know if Google has changed something with the Web Core Vitals in that I never really used to optimize logo sizes before. And I always used to manage to pass Web Core Vitals. Over the last couple of months, I've found it really difficult to pass Web Core Vitals without optimizing the logo, because especially on mobile, when you go mobile and you look at your LCP or largest contentful print, even if there's literally nothing above the fold apart from writing, it's still hard to get it past because if the logo has been unoptimized, because in that instance, your largest asset that loads above the fold is the logo. So I did a quick Google. Logos need to be roughly 200 pixels by 100 pixels. And then I use a free website. I've used this one for years called imagecompressor.com to compress the image. And once you upload the image, it'll tell you it's, 10 kilobytes, and you compress it and it comes down to like 2. This doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, 2 kilobytes versus 10 kilobytes is great. And you can almost always pass Web Core Vitals. If the only thing you're failing on is LCP and it's because the logo, by doing this, you can almost always pass it. The next thing that I did with this website, and again, I recommend this for most websites, especially to do with speed, is remove the featured image. What I mean by this is I don't mean I go into the back end of the post and I delete the featured image. I mean, I go into the theme settings and I remove the option for the theme to display the featured image above the fold. And now most themes, Astra and GeneratePress, have this option built in. And again, this is all to do with that LCP, that largest contentful print. When you load the website, especially on desktop, if your featured image or your hero image is the largest asset above the fold, it's really hard to optimize that. By getting rid of that, you're literally saying the only things above the fold are your logo, navigation menu, and content. And then what you do then is manually add that featured image into the blog post a couple of paragraphs down, so it doesn't appear above the fold. And I've seen tons of sites fail LCP because the featured image is the largest asset there, and a very quick win usually is to remove that and manually add the image back in a little bit further below. I then went through all the images with the free plugins called EWWW, and I always get confused how many W's are on the end there. I always end up typing in EWWWWWW forever, but it's EWWW. It's a free plugin, and this can go back and retrospectively do two things. One, it optimizes the images themselves, kind of a little bit like what the imagecompressor.com site does, but on a bulk thing. And the other thing it does is it allows you to set a maximum size for your images. So if, for example, you downloaded an image from, I don't know, Shutterstock or something, and you've accidentally clicked the bigger size and it's 5,000 pixels by 2,500 pixels, and you've uploaded that to the website, even though you optimize the image, you're still left with a really big file. It's still 5,000 pixels wide, and you might not realize that. But EWWW allows you to set a maximum file size by pixel. So you can go in, you can say the maximum file size that I want, or maximum image size I want is 1,280 by 720, for example. And then all the images above that will get shrunk down and cut to that. So you're not left with massively oversized images, which sometimes, they're really hard to find. So it's a great plugin for that, and I'd highly recommend it. The next thing I did was reduce HTTP requests and combine minify CSS and JS files. This one is another free plugin. It's called Asset Cleanup. But use this with caution. Always take a backup of your website before you use it, because minifying CSS and JS files can lead to the website not looking correctly or loading correctly. You can have, it might mess up the way the website looks. So take a backup, minify and the CSS and the JSS separately, clear the cache, load the website, make sure it all looks good before you proceed in there. But it's great for kind of doing those things. And if you've ever run a website through Google Speed Test, the Google Speed Test tool, more often than not, you'll see some of the recommendations around minifying CSS and JS files. And in all honesty, it's way above my head what that actually means on a technical level. So just get a free plugin to do it for me. I then use another plugin to lazy load any videos. I love including videos in my content, especially at the bottom. I don't know if you know this, but if you Google any term and then you click on the video tab, there's obviously Google shows up videos there, but probably what you might not know is if you click some of those videos, you don't get taken to YouTube. You sometimes get taken to the actual website that has that video embedded on there, and then it doesn't take you direct to the video. You have to scroll through the content. So one of our strategies is to strategically look for YouTube videos that are in that list, and then take them and embed them at the bottom of our content, and then hopefully outrank that YouTube video in that Google video search result. And what then happens is someone types in the keyword, clicks on the video tab, scrolls down, clicks your video, and then gets taken to your website. And then they have to scroll down through all the content, past all the lovely revenue generating adverts to get to your video. And I mean, it's free traffic. It's traffic for nothing, essentially. And we have seen on big sites that can drive sometimes thousands. I mean, on the rare extreme, I've seen it drive tens of thousands of additional visitors for free. So it's definitely worth embedding videos. But when you embed videos, especially YouTube videos, it makes the site really slow. It's like an oxymoron. Google tell you embed YouTube videos and embed them via YouTube, the actual YouTube embed option. But when you do that, it tells you that you're loading all kinds of scripts and you can't pass Web Core Vitals. So easiest way to do that is to use a plugin called Lazy Load Videos, and it'll lazy load those videos for you, and you can get that to pass. And then for this website, I then also used the caching plugin, WP Rocket in this case. It's the only paid plugin in this stack, and it's $49 a year. And in all honesty, I didn't really mess around with any settings. I installed it, turned it on, went with the default settings, and all of these 7 steps combined basically meant that I now have green scores on both mobile and desktop for passing Web Core Vitals. And people ask me, is passing Web Core Vitals a major ranking signal? And the honest answer is I don't know, but I believe it's one of the signals. And if you can spend an evening going through all these 7 steps for your website, why wouldn't you do that? Even if you don't know how impactful it is, you might as well just spend an evening, get under the hood, and go through these steps. So that's what I did pretty much within the first week of owning the website. I then took the website and I optimized it for display adverts. And if you've watched any of my other case studies of kind of personal websites where I flipped these display ad websites, you'll already know the playbook by now. It's a 5-step process, and this basically allows me to increase RPMs typically, or EMPVs, and increase display ad revenue. So the first thing I do is increase the font size. I increased the font size to anything between 20 and 22 pixels, both on desktop and mobile. And that allows basically more scrolling. More scrolling means longer time on site, which means more time for more placeholders, more time for basically adverts to be shown to the visitors. I add more images to increase page breaks. So in this case, when I bought this site, I think most pieces of content had one image. And then I went through and I got a ton more stock images, or I embedded Pinterest images, or I embedded Instagram images where I couldn't find stock images that suited. And what this did was, add more page breaks into the content. And more page breaks basically means more opportunity for ad placeholders, and more ad placeholders means more revenue. I then added some FAQs to the end of each piece of content. I guess this does increase ad revenue because you're making your content longer, and it's more. It adds more placeholders as well. But this is also just to make sure that the content is the best out there. It's almost like refreshing the content. And I should stress that I don't do that to every piece of content. I literally go through Google Analytics. I look at what the top 20% of the URLs that are driving 80% of the traffic, and I'll go through and I'll add FAQs if they don't already have them. And really simple process for that is go through Google's people also ask box and pull out 4 or 5 related questions from there, a couple of sentences for the answers, and that just makes the content a little bit better, refreshes it, and also adds a couple more placeholders. Increase the site speed. I mean, I just talked about the 7-step process there, but increasing site speed, I think, is important when you're running display ads. I've seen tons of people on, for example, the Ezoic Facebook group, which say they turned Ezoic on, the site speed went down, and then traffic dropped. I mean, if you're going to run display ads on your website, it's going to be calling external scripts, and you want your website to be as fast as it can. So I do think increasing site speed has a benefit of increasing display ad revenue. And then switch to monetization. So this one is an interesting one. It was with AdSense. It was then switched over to Mediavine. And then I switched it over to Ezoic. I'm a premium account holder with Ezoic. I pay the monthly premium with Ezoic, several $1,000s. And I kind of see that as an arbitrage a little bit. The more sites I bring into my Ezoic premium account now, the more I make back on that premium payment. So it didn't really make sense for me to keep it with Mediavine. I brought it back into Ezoic, and also have direct control over the placeholders as well. So I increased the placeholders. I changed the setting from balance to revenue focus, which means even more placeholders. And basically, what that does is just means more opportunity for revenue. And again, I see tons of people in Facebook groups saying, should I be on balance? Should I be on revenue focused? How many placeholders is too many? And for me, especially these kinds of websites, they're not passion projects. This niche, I don't care either way about this niche. I'm only in this website for generating revenue. And if that means that I can generate more revenue by having more ad spots on there, then that's what I will do. And basically, we can see in a little bit that traffic grew, but even switching from Mediavine back to Ezoic, which most people say you make less revenue, you can see that we'll see in a sec that the revenue jumped up quite a bit. And since owning the website, I've also added 110,000 words of new content. And this is what it looks like. So spent around $7,500. That equals 55 new blog posts. I use our tomb rating keyword research method. And if you're not familiar with that, we've got a whole video on it. Just go to our channel and search tomb rating. The general kind of topic of it is basically to find weak competitors that are getting lots of organic traffic, but with a weaker link profile. And in this case, I created a list of all the titles from the weaker ones and made my, said I'm going to make my content a little bit better by adding an FAQ. But what I did mention here is I went through all those weaker competitors and I pulled out all of the listicle content. So that is 10 things to do in X, 10 types of red car, for example. I pulled up all the listicles because I could see from the competitors in this space, listicle content for this niche is massive. lots and lots of sites are driving hundreds of thousands of visitors with listicle content. And in that case, I just wanted to copy them. I wanted to find all of the weaker ones, all the competitors with a weaker domain, with a weaker backlink profile, and I wanted to look at all the listicles that they're doing. And that is basically how I created my keyword research plan. And all the new content, so all 55 pieces of content are now listicle content. There's no question and answer. There's no review content. It's all listicle 10 best in X or 10 types of or 15 different colors of or something like that. And I started publishing the content in July, 6 posts in July, 32 in August, 11 in September, 6 in October month to date. I literally hit publish on another 2 today and 1 last week. So that takes us to about 9. And I plan on continually to add content between 10 and 30 pieces of content, as much as I can get done for the foreseeable future, for at least the next 6 months. And these are the results. So that first month there is March when I bought the website. When I bought the site, it was getting around 50-ish thousand visits per month. This is quite a seasonal niche. The season peaks in around May time. So it's no surprise traffic grew there. But when you can, I should have put the comparison to last kind of August and September. The site's traffic is still a lot higher than it was August and September, even though now we're going into the quiet period. But essentially traffic doubled in the 7 months. Some of that has to do with seasonality, but some of it also, a big chunk of it also has to do with the steps that I've taken above. And as I say here, this niche is seasonal. So I expect December into March. That's really when it dips, a dip in traffic. But I'm going to continue adding new content ready for the peak season next year. And that is when I plan to flip the website. And this is why. So this is the seasonality of this niche. You can see it got quite popular during lockdown, in the first lockdown in 2019. But it peaks every year around about kind of like April-ish time, basically. So I plan now on adding content for the next 6 months, and then I'll leave it 2 months, and we go into the high season into April. And I'm hoping that this site will generate north of $5,000 a month into those peak months, maybe more. And that is when I look to sell. I'm a big believer on trying. I mean, it's not always possible, but trying to sell a website that is on the up rather than going down. I mean, nobody wants to buy a website that's going down, but if I can sell a website that is, I can show year-on-year growth, and I can show that it's got seasonality and it's going into the peak season, and maybe there's still another month or 2 left, and the new buyer can take advantage of that peak, then it allows me to leverage when I come to sell, allows me to ask for a higher multiple, or allows me to negotiate better with someone who's buying. So that's the whole plan for this website, to keep adding content into the first 2 to 3 months of next year. And this is how the current valuation looks, so how the numbers currently stack up. So this is revenue post-purchase. So it's making around $2,000 a month after I bought it, before I bought it. And then I took ownership in March. So that number's not in there because it was the whole transfer. And then here you can see the revenue in May, June, July, August, and September, where that traffic was increasing. And the last 6 months revenue is now average $3,300. And at the same multiple, 34x that I bought it at, the site's now worth $115,000. And that basically means I've made a 75% return on my investment in just 7 months. So the purchase price was $71,000. I spent $7,700 on new content. It's generated $17,000 since I owned it, and the asset value is now worth $115,000, which if I were to sell it today, I would profit at around $53,000. But like I say, I think next year it can get up to $4,000, $5,000, maybe even $6,000 a month. And the plan is then to flip it for north of 150 and hopefully see a much higher ROI. So that's the case study. It's basically all the steps that I took in order to get the site there. I guess, but the big takeaways here is site speed, display ad optimization, and content. I mean, breaking it down and saying it like that, it's pretty simple, right? It's not rocket science when you think of it that way, but hopefully you've got some kind of knowledge and tips and insight into when we say just going into site speed, like what's actually involved, or well, you can just optimize the website for display ads. What does that mean? Well, now hopefully you've got a couple of things you can go and actually implement today. And that is my that's my case study. of one of my personal websites.
Very, very good. A few questions from me before we answer anything on the
Hmm.
comments. So, what made you decide to go on listicle types of content only when you were choosing to improve the site?
Yeah, and good question. And that is because when I was doing the competitor research, well, two things. One is when I was doing the competitor research, I could see that the biggest sites in the space, even the ones with higher DR, so they weren't kind of competitors in the Tomb Raider instance, they were getting the most traffic from listicle types of content. So I already knew that the space is massive for them, and was putting the keywords into Ahrefs, and I could see, some of these the core keywords for these listicle articles were getting hundreds of thousands of searches a month. I just needed to know of the weaker competitors, like which ones were doing well for them, what were the uncompetitive listicles, and that's the way I built my keyword research list. The other good thing about listicles, I mean, is the content's really easy to create. Like you can have anybody create listicles because once you've got the format laid out, it's not complicated content. You don't have to do a ton of research. Usually it's just a list and then with images involved and a couple of sentences about each, whatever you're talking about. So it's nice content. It can be produced quickly. It can be templated and systemized. And then when it comes to checking and publishing, I mean, you don't have to have a subject matter expert and know nothing about this space this website's in. But I can review the content and be like, yeah, this is a great piece of content, even though I'm not an expert.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually. I'm a fan of listicles, as you know.
Yeah,
um,
I'm sure you're going to mention some listicles later.
yeah, sure will. And my second and last question would be, why use WP Rocket as a plugin if you have Ezoic and you use Leap? Because I'm pretty sure they do caching as well on their Leap system.
They do. This is the first website that I've used WP Rocket as well as Ezoic Leap. Now, Tony mentioned in the chat actually, and he said, "I have Rocket, but when Leap came out, I stopped using it. Still never passed Web Core Vitals. I can have a chat to you, Tony, and maybe when I come down to view, have a look at your studio, we can have a look at the site. But Leap basically says it's income, or they don't recommend you run WP Rocket and Leap at the same time. It's like one of the flags in the back end, but I mean, I couldn't get this website to pass Web Core Vitals just using Leap. Most of my other portfolio sites, I can, and I've always recommend using Leap, and I think it's great. They've got their caching. This website, I just couldn't get it to pass for some reason, even though the setup's the same, even though it's generate press, and even though I'm hiding the featured images and I've optimized the logo. And in all honesty, it was on a whim. I'd seen someone on LinkedIn say, "Oh, I passed Web Core Vitals by using the paid version of WP Rocket, and I didn't change any of the settings." Getting really frustrated messing around with Leap. I installed it, didn't change any of the settings, and then it passed. So I don't know. Maybe I'll definitely use it again if I can't get Leap to pass on its own.
That's great tip though, because it's definitely worth doing for those that are still struggling to pass Web Core Vitals with Leap as
Mm.
well. So yeah, that's wonderful. I think that was an amazing case to be fair, and I understand now why you want to sell during the peak of the, because you can't really. It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense selling now because it's gonna go down because of the seasonality. So it makes perfect sense that you sell when it peaks during April, May. So.
yeah, exactly. And you've got to be fair to buyers as well. Buyers, as a buyer of websites
Yeah.
yourself, like I want to buy a website that's going up ideally, even if it is kind of seasonality, because I buy it and I know next month I'm going to make more money, basically. So yeah, there's nobody's got any questions, which is interesting. Nobody wants to know anything else about the website. So if you do have questions, pop them in the chat. But if not, we will hand over to you now, Elena, and you're
Yeah.
going to do some awesome age domain teardowns. Excited to see what you've got for us.
That's right. I'm very excited for the first one. So the first one is the one I'm most excited about is locally grown gardens. Is a 14 years old age domain, DR15, and it was to do with farmers market slash farm slash farm shop, something like that. So it's an age domain that was actually thanks to you, Adam, that I picked up and recognized that it was a good opportunity because you sent me a competitor ages ago, well, actually a month ago probably, and it was doing incredible with listicle types of content related to the subject of this domain. So I'm super excited to show you more, and I shall do that now.
And it's full of listicles, right? It's all listicle content,
Correct.
which is great. We just said it's awesome kind of content.
Correct. You see now the power of listicles. So yeah, as I said, DR15, locally grown gardens.com. And it looked like this back in the day. So it was kind of a farm shop slash cafe slash farm shop. And it was run by a
Cool
chef.
graphic, isn't it? It's a cool graphic on there. I like that.
Very, very cool graphic. Yeah, Indiana asparagus here. Yeah, as you can see, year-round farm market, chef-owned and operated. So they had a blog, a bio, contact us about seasonal menu. So because obviously the chef behind this farm shop was obviously had a small garden, whatever, and he was changing the menus that were based on the season of whatever is being harvested at the time. And they also, if you go to the blog section, they also had a section of what's in season. So, for example, if you're in October, you would see pumpkins and things like that. So it was just a farm shop with farm and vegetables and fruit and a place where you can grab a bite to eat as well. The backlinks are really good. We have Yahoo, we have BuzzFeed, we have Refinery29, we have Vogue.com, we have Food and Wine, which is a fabulous niche relevant backlink, Thrillist, Travel and Leisure, the Culture Trip, Telegram, IndieStar. We have Palm Beach Post as well, Courier Journal. North Jersey, we have HeraldTribune.com, Jacksonville, Florida Today, Spoon University, BringFrido.com, Edible Communities, another lovely niche relevant backlink. We have awesome backlinks down the line as well, our culture heritage.
Tons of tier one news sites with a sprinkle of niche relevant sites as well, isn't it? It's really good.
Yeah, it's kind of what we tend to like to see in the mix when it comes to HTMLs. A mix of niche relevant, high quality, high authority backlinks combined with things like the Florida Post or something that I saw here, Florida Today, like a high quality news site. It's like kind of something that a perfect blend of what you want to see. Mm-hmm. Anchor text, very, as we're seeing here, branded is getting the most juice, which is fabulous. Then we have third place branded. We have generic, naked, and then more branded / semi-branded, generic, and things related to the niche. So honestly, fantastic anchor text, just as good as the backlinks. Did you notice that, Adam, that the Best Buy?
Yeah, I hate this now.
I hate it.
It's changed.
I hate it.
I hate change in general.
I don't say I hate it. And I'm going to try to navigate myself through this. But it's easy, this one, because the majority of the backlinks are pointing towards the homepage. And for those of you that are not familiar, what I'm trying to say here is that when it comes to H domains, as we've just seen those beautiful backlinks, some of these beautiful backlinks, let's say, for example, maybe BuzzFeed, might be pointed towards an internal page like Peaches Are Here, which is not homepage, it's an internal page. And especially when it comes to H domains, you want to make sure that you keep the relevancy as much as possible. So if we have a BuzzFeed pointing towards this post, ideally, in an ideal scenario, you would want to recreate that post. Of course, make it original, make it, with similar. So it has to have Peaches on there, but don't name it the same name. Don't, copy and paste from the Wayback Machine, make it original. And then page to page redirect that individual URL onto that post. So we keep the relevancy as much as possible, especially when there's high quality links involved. But in this case, we're seeing that the majority of backlinks are pointing towards a homepage. So not much cleanup will be required in this instance. Now, in terms of the strategy, personally, my strategy was very straightforward. We'll do loads of stickers. The ones being listicle types of content around farm shops and fruit picking farms. In fact, this could be also this could be also vegetables, other vegetables could be eggplant or cucumbers or other stuff, tomatoes, things like that. But the most common would be strawberry picking, blueberry, peaches, whatever is in season. A nice, beautiful day out with the kids, people are looking for these things, these activities. They're fun. You go out and you grab a big bucket and you pick stuff and then you pay at the end. It's a big thing, and it's a great opportunity for us to create listicle types of content around those locations, a bit of information about their locations, and yeah, a lot of opportunity. I have an amazing competitor to show you that's doing just that, and it's totally smashing it. Now, I think that we can do recipes, but I think that we can try and keep it as much fruit and veg related, if that makes sense. I mean, we can do, like, for example, best plum sauce that goes, or like what fruit goes well with meat. You know, when you have, like, I don't know, like turkey, it goes with cranberry sauce, or when you have beef, or sorry, when you have lamb, it goes with mint sauce and things like that. So I think we should try and stick to fruit and veg as much as possible. But I think we could definitely expand to recipes, because if you think about it, this domain used to, had food and recipes involved, because they had a menu and stuff like that. So there is recipes involved and food involved as in general, not just fruit and vegetable, farming, etc. And fruit and veg guides. Now, this can be many things. This could be, how to store veggies, how to store mushrooms, how to know if mushrooms have gone bad, what to do with leftover peaches, all things fruit and veg. Like, fruit and veg are most of our diet, really, except Adam's. Yeah, there's loads of opportunities that we can do with these types of things. So this looks small and simple, but there's so much that can be done with these three subjects alone. Okay, so this is the competitor that Adam sent me a while back that really kind of prompted me to see this H domain as a fantastic opportunity based on this competitor. So the name is just fruitpickingfarms.com. What more could you ask for? It's a very straightforward name. It's just slightly high authority, and as we're 15, they're 18. And as we're seeing, they're generating incredible amount of traffic, 167,000 per month, according to Ahrefs. So let's take a look at what they're doing. Okay, so as you can see, they only have 300 posts. So it's not, enormous amount. We're not talking thousands of posts to generate that much traffic. So 300 posts and we have that much traffic. I'm very happy. Now, let's take a look. Blueberry picking near me. If you click on it, it's just your classic listicle types of content. It's 50 farms of blueberry picking near me. Obviously, they're trying to be smart and they're trying to say near me, because if I live in California and I know that there is probably blueberry picking farms near me, I'll be opening my phone and Googling blueberry picking farms near me. It's like dentist near me, if that makes sense. So these guys are trying to be smart, and they're doing well. If you scroll down, they have first farm, and then straight away they have the address, so that you could easily rank as a featured snippet on this alone. And then they have a bit of information. So for a rustic, no frills picking experience, then head down to McCanny's berry farm. And they have a bit of, this is easy content, guys. Like, it's, as Adam said, like, listicles are super easy to do. You have pictures of blueberries, which I'm sure you can find tons of stock images of blueberries. Easy. Yep. You can find locations, and then you add a bit. You have to be a little bit creative. That's why we have a fantastic team of writers that do this creative side of explaining a little bit about this fantastic blueberry picking farm. And if you scroll down, you'll see number 2, and then you'll see number 3, and then you see number 4, and number 50. It's a long piece of content. So every time I'm scrolling through there. I'm making money to this site, scrolling through their adverts. And this is why I love listicle type content, because there are typically long pieces of content. Look at this. If I keep scrolling, it's a lot of scrolling. So this piece of content alone, if someone scrolls all the way down, it's gonna make me, I don't know, quite a bit. I would hope. So yeah, great opportunity. And they just do that. They have other, like, cherry picking, have honey, peach, they have lavender. We can do herbs and other stuff as well, not just fruit. They have strawberry, peach again, vegetable farms. As I said, we could definitely expand to vegetables. And look at the nice search volume here. We have sunflower, which is cool. And it's the same system, guys. Like, it's 5. It's a smaller one, but it's a listicle types of content. And it's a nice day out for you to take your kids or just go out on a date or whatever. trying to find, and it's a fantastic piece of content that shows you exactly what you're looking for. So yeah, for me, this comparison.
Wonder, just look at that. I wonder if they pass Web Core Vitals with that massive featured image above the fold. I don't know.
Oh yeah. You are right. Actually, this is where they've gone wrong. Look, they should be
I don't know.
here.
The thing that strikes me about this website as well is that it's so basic. I think we talked on the streams before about people spend too much time looking at design and all that kind of stuff. This is they don't even have a logo. They're literally just using text for the logo, and it's doing really well. It's just a great example of like a site which is so basic. It's so easy to make something that looks a bit better, probably performs a bit better in terms of site speed, and
No, I think you're totally right. I think this is a great example of a domain that shows you don't have to go fancy to do well.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Like, I'm finding everything I need. When I hover on categories, I'm picking whatever I want to find. Like, I've got cherry picking, I've got haunted houses. Oh my god, what? This doesn't belong here.
I think from what I saw, they were trying to expand out now. They've done all the farms. They're trying to expand out elsewhere
right.
into more kind of just almost like tourism stuff in different locations.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. They have zoos as well.
Yeah, you can see zoos in there, and
Yeah.
So that's the latest content. You can see this if you click on one of them. I think, or they've got the alpaca farm. Like it's the most recent date. Some of them are.
Oh, that's alpaca farm. Hold on, yeah, an alpaca farm. Well,
It's in April. Yeah.
Look at how cute this looks. Looks so cute. But yeah, very simple. Like, it doesn't need to be complicated. I think often when you make it fancy, it looks busy, and it's hard to navigate yourself through the site sometimes. Simple is best. So yeah, I just wanted to get to a point that this competitor is the top. This would be my strategy really for this site. Do this, guys. This is it. But I'm not finished yet with this one because I want to show you another competitor which is less authoritative than us, so DR8, and it's doing generating 43,000, and it's called Food for Anti-Aging, but don't be fooled by the name because the purpose of this domain isn't really that. So let's go on to the post. So they do listicles of like the sweetest apples, and this is what I was talking to you about. Let's try and keep it very related to fruit and veg if possible. And there's competitors that do that. And if you click on this piece of content, it's like a list of content where it's like it lists like the sweetest apples. I think it's pretty cool content. Easy again. It's, as you can see, this site isn't really doing very good job because there is no pictures really. So there's already like areas of improvement. Like there isn't a single picture here, which is a bit strange. So I thought this is a great idea. Like, sweetest varieties, we have highest protein mushrooms. Why not? That's awesome as well. Rice versus potatoes. We have Gala versus Fuji, which is they're both a type of apples. And then we have some other stuff, can you eat mushrooms raw? And I think this is cool content. Organic bananas, like if you click on that, it's organic bananas versus regular bananas, which is better. Which I think this type of content is smart, and I think it's a good type of content we can cover. Swedish strawberry variety as well, blackberry variety, almonds versus pistachios, quinoa versus couscous, wheat bran versus wheat germ, turnip greens versus collard greens, and things like that, which I think is interesting content. I think fits very well with the site that I'm looking at here, and this is why I'm showing you this competitor. And remember, it's less authoritative than us, so they're 8 and we're 15, and they're generating, in my opinion, a pretty decent amount of traffic considering the content really they're doing. So and this is to finish with this first H domain. I think this H domain has huge opportunities, especially based on what we've seen of this fruitpickingfarms.com, which is a fantastic example.
Yeah, agreed. That site can easily do well. If we look at that competitor with 165,000 visits a month just on the farm idea alone without expanding outwards, it could be massive. You can keep going forever on that because once you've done that, you can go into recipes and all kinds of stuff.
I was thinking, because I think that they did a bit wrong by maybe they should have explored other information about fruit and veg rather than haunted houses. I probably wouldn't suggest this as part of a strategy for this domain. Keep it clean, keep it to the point, keep it to stay in your lane, basically. So the second example is second age domain that I want to show you is we are soulsisters.com. So it's a travel domain of two sisters that shared their adventures, but they primarily traveled around Southeast Asia, and they just kind of shared their travels. So it's a travel site, basically. And looking at it,
Probably more suited to like haunted houses and alpaca farms and stuff, I guess.
yeah.
in a little way, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So as you can see, we have about us, we have where we've been, make travel happen, shop, collaborate, and these ladies, as I said, just shared digital nomad island and just like their travels, top countries to travel in Southeast Asia. As I said, that was their specialty. They love to travel Southeast Asia. 5 of the of the beaten path winter vacation spots in Canada. So really like, pardon me, you have like travel related posts and content. Just give me a second. Sorry, my tabs have not opened. So the domain is a DR of 25, and I say that's pretty good DR. Great starting point. And when we go to the referring domains, we have Flickr, we have Medium, we have Big Cartel, we have HuffPost, we have BuzzFeed, we have Philista, Rappler, we have acquireasia.com, which I think is good because obviously they used to travel to Asia a lot. Swissmiss.com, hotelbookers.com, niche relevant because they did travel. tourradar.com, designlovefest.com as well, and more links down the line as well. So all in all, I think we have pretty good backlinks in this mix. So yeah, that's good. In terms of the anchor text, good. Once again, we have Soul Sisters, which is branded at the top. Again, branded. Lois, I believe, was one of the girls that was behind the blog. And then we have another branded, naked anchor text, naked, branded. I'm not sure what this is, Chichi. And then we have a generic one, and then more branded and more related stuff. Lois and Chichi. Okay, that was the other sister. Now it makes sense. So yeah, this is it. Again, very clean anchor text profile. When it comes to the best pages by incoming links, we have again the majority pointed towards the homepage, and then we have a couple that are pointed towards internal pages. Soul Sisters Guide to Keeping Your .html. So God knows what this is.
Keeping your wall. I want to know what. What is it?
You want to know what? You have to open me to see me. So if I open it just to see whether the backlinks are good enough for us to recreate this post, we're saying that really they're not worth it. They're all just rubbish scraper types of websites. So for me, I would say no to this. And then we have Why I Travel as Filipino. So if you open this and see what the, again, I wouldn't bother recreating this. So looking at this, probably not a lot would need recreating, but again, all of these would need to get inspected to make sure that, there might be some golden hidden nuggets there that we may need to recreate. But again, the majority are pointed towards the homepage. Now, the strategy with travel is very straightforward, and it's worth mentioning that travel took a massive hit during COVID-19. Like, it really took a massive hit, basically. But it has recovered massively because people want to travel now more than ever because they couldn't travel when there was COVID. So now it really is one of the best times to start to enter the travel niche, really. So here's the strategy. Again, listicle types of content around best things to do in X and Y city. So, for example, this could be from going to restaurants to sightseeing to finding, or I don't know, like in New York, you would want to check out all sorts of different things. So we list them in a big listicle types of content. Because travel and food goes hand in hand. When you go to travel, you often go to eat out, and often you tend to want to look for the best places or just any nice, cool place, especially when you're in a different culture, different cuisine. You want to find out the best places to eat. And this is where listing the best food places in certain locations is a fantastic opportunity and a good content strategy. And then, of course, we come to all sorts of basic informational pieces of content around travel, from packing tips, traveling on a budget, and all that sort of thing, which is more, informational. Yeah, the monetization can come from display ads, of course, but we can do all things travel stuff. So, for example, if you have packing essentials, then we'll think about power charging bank for your phone, travel bags, stuff like that. This is where we can monetize. So the first competitor I want to show you is roamingtheusa.com. And it's less authority than us. So they're 14, we're 25, and they are doing incredible amount of traffic levels. And I believe they jumped recently. If I am to show you, they've kind of taken off recently quite a lot. So from 1,800, yeah. So they've taken off kind of really well as well recently. And you guys are just doing the US, and that doesn't mean that we should just do the US. We can do many other different places in the world, but for a site that just targets the US, I think they're done fantastically well. And here's what they're covering at the top: best cities to visit in the US. And if you click on it, I'm pretty sure it's a listicle. It's 68 best places to visit in the US. So this is where it comes to us doing listicles. This could mean many things, not just things to do, but places to visit and things to see, whatever. And this is a great example of a site that's doing listicles of best cities to visit in the US. How hard this content can be. It's easy content. And I'm sure you can find a picture of Boston, Massachusetts, and stick it in there. And it's easy content. You have Seattle, Washington, you have Houston, Texas, and you have a bit of information on one awesome place for you to visit. Again, no rocket science. This is easy content, and they're doing so well with these types of content. Listicles all the way. And if you go down, they do like other stuff like best winter vacations as well. This is why I like travel. Yes, the peak season is the summer, but people go away in the winter, people go away during Halloween, people go away all times of the year. Yes, the summer is the busiest, but there's winter vacations somewhere in the US, romantic gateways. Romantic gateways don't stop in summer. They happen all year round. So this is a beautiful piece of content we can do as well. Spring break, again, spring, people travel in spring. Romantic cabins, best places to visit in March in the US, fantastic. Best place to visit in December in the US. Cabins with hot tubs.
Those best places and a month are great as well, because you can expand that out from best places to visit in December in the US to best places to ski in December to best places to snorkel in December, and you can do all the months as well. So that kind of content is really expansive.
That's a good point.
Best places to scuba dive in January, February, March, April, May, all the way through. And you just replace best places to, and then the activity.
The different activity, yeah.
12 different articles then for each month.
Yes, you can do romantic getaways on December, March, January, February. Yeah, I get you. That's also a fantastic opportunity. So, I mean, the content opportunities are insane. Like romantic restaurants in Houston. We can do romantic restaurants in Texas, Washington, California, or other places, in not just in the US, like everywhere. You could just go crazy. So that is why I really love this competitor. Less authority than us, crazy amount of traffic, loads of content opportunities. That's why I love travel, really. Travel niche is awesome. The second competitor I want to show you is Always on the Shore. DR11, generating 48,000 per month. And here's kind of what they're doing. They're doing more restaurants and stuff. So Miramar beach restaurants. If I click on it, I'm pretty sure it's a listicle. So 15 awesome Miramar beach restaurant to try. And if you go down, it's like so if you go down the happens, fair enough, classic. We have number one, we have number two, again, easy content. This is not rocket science, chemistry on complicated stuff. This is easy stuff. You're just gonna have to sound a bit excited and why this surf hut is so good. Oh my god, the ribs are amazing and things like that. It's easy content. And they do like Miami to Bahamas by ferry, so they're kind of giving you instructions on how to get from A to B. We have more restaurants, And then we have, is this airline good? Things to do in Seaside, Florida. And this is what I was talking about, listicles around things to do. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I think for me, obviously, this domain is the star of the show. But this is just in one location of the planet. Like, imagine doing this for multiple different locations, multiple different countries. Like, this is where I think that the travel niche is unlimited. Like, you can write content and content and content until, I don't know, forever. And yeah, this is me. This is the 2H domains. Finish it off.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I think both of those spaces got massive amounts. It's interesting. There's a bit of crossover as well because fruit picking is almost like travel, but it's
It is.
yeah.
Yeah, it is because there's activities. It's activity.
And Shafiq says, "Wow, what a simple website for flourishing." And yeah, this website's really simple. Most websites in the space, I mean, people are blown away when I tell them kind of what we do for a living. Like we make blogs and we make content, and they just assume that they're really fancy, technically complicated websites. I'm like, no, they're literally just really basic blogs. What is what it comes down to, and you don't need anything super fancy. You don't need a degree in computer science to make these kinds of websites. They're really easy to put together.
Yeah.
So I think we're almost pretty much at the likes. I think. Let me check. Oops, YouTube. How many likes are we at right now? We are on YouTube 37 likes. So hey, we didn't even need to show the dog's ear. What's going on?
No, but we're going to show the whole thing now.
Amazing. Yeah, go and you go and grab him.
Yeah.
If anybody, whoever wants to be in the draw for the merch, then type something in the chat now. That's the way the YouTube algorithm works. You have to type something in the chat for me to grab the list of names to enter you into the Wheel of Fortune draw. So if you want merch, type something in the chat right now. Just type anything, your name, type the word merch, type the word Alfie, sausage dog, whatever you want to type. And while you guys are doing that to get entered into the draw, I will answer some of the questions that came through. But first, I mean, how cute is Alfie? He's amazing.
Say hi.
You managed to keep him nice and calm with the chew.
Yes, I got him a treat. This is the reward hitting the likes, guys.
I live for this reward. This is my reward.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions that came in. Casper, and I think somebody else asked what was the niche for the website, my website, for the case study. I'm not going to give you the exact niche, but it was in the pet space. I guess pet animal space. That's the kind of area it was in. I don't want to give it away because obviously I'm still working on it, so I don't want a ton of competitors. But that's the general space it was in. Anton asks, what was my cost per article there, and did I use native English writers? Yeah, I use the Niche Website Builder team. If you don't know and you're kind of new to the channel here, we run the Niche Website Builder channel, and we run an agency called Niche Website Builders. We have a team of around 60 in-house content writers. They're all based here in the UK, although they're very used to writing content for the US. In fact, 70% of our client base are writing content for the US. So yeah, they're all native English speakers, and the cost for that 7 cents a word. But that includes us doing the keyword research and also formatting and uploading the content. So those listicle articles where each one has an image, for example, I mean, it's really time consuming if you just went out and got the content created and you have to upload it yourself. We'll do that. We'll include those images for you. We'll do everything that needs to be done basically to get the content ready to hit publish. Daniel asked, said you increased the font size to what size and why? Tony's already answered you in the chat. I checked the exact size and it was to font size 21 pixel on desktop and mobile. But essentially it just means that people scroll on the website longer, have more display ads, and especially on desktop, if you can get people to stay on the site as long as possible, that sticky ad spot in the sidebar usually refreshes every 10 to 15 seconds. And if you can get someone to stay on the website for 10 or 15 seconds longer because they're scrolling more, you get another ad impression. These are just all tiny, small, like incremental ways to increase revenue. And font size is just one of them. And question from Turn It to Glue is, where do you buy your age domains? So we source them from a number of different places. We go direct to auction, but you can buy these domains from us as well. The good thing about buying a domain from us is we've done all the due diligence. I mean, that in itself takes a long time. And then also you get a plan, like Elena does these plans for our age domains. It's not just here's the domain and go and do your own thing. We've got the plan, and then we're also there to help you build it out and add the content and upload the content and get everything live, basically. So it's almost like cheating with age domains if you want to buy them from us. So lots of Daniel says pet animal space rather than the pet human space. Yep, that's right. pet animal space, Daniel. We've got any more? Can't really see any more questions in there, to be honest. So let me just grab the list of people. It's quite small this week, which is interesting because we've got almost 40 viewers. We don't have a ton of people who have typed in. So let's get an updated list. Can we get an updated list, please? Because loads more people have typed in since. So the guy's just going to grab, Luke's just going to grab me an updated list because more people have commented. While he's doing that, let me just, can I find our merch presentation? No. Can't. Okay, well, I've got the updated list. Let's go. Let me share my screen and do a Wheel of Fortune spin. Share my screen. Right, let's do this. Let me also get up some music. Actually, let me not. So, can you see the Wheel of Fortune name now, Elena?
I can see, yeah.
Cool. Actually, let me do get some music. Background music, a bit of hip hop.
Oh,
Go,
yeah.
go, right. Go. Oh, I've not changed my settings. This is much less anticlimactic than Mark. Much quicker.
Oh, that's fast.
It's really fast. Is it? Charles Sipe. Congratulations, Charles. You are the winner of this week's merch. So
well done.
Well done, Charles. Head on over to the Niche Website Builder website. Go onto the chat. Tell the team what you want. There's a choice between t-shirts, hats, mugs, what size, what colors, etc. The team can send you a little PDF of what's available, and they'll ship it out to you. And that's it. That's a wrap. Been a great stream. Thanks, Elena, for sharing those age domains with us. I think people love those. I think they love looking at the competitors stuff as well that we share. Takes a while to find those competitor domains that are doing good traffic with low domain authority. So yeah, we really appreciate you pulling those out.
No problem. And thanks for sharing the case study. I mean, I cannot wait to hear more next year when you're selling, how much you've improved it and what sort of seasonal jump we've seen after that. I'm super excited to see. Are you going to pump more content, or are you putting a hold for now?
Nope, more content for the next 6 months, as much as I can get out every month, basically.
Okay, perfect.
And that's it. I think so. A couple of things going on this week. Next week, we have our in-person team meetup tomorrow, which is always nice. Every 2 months, we have an in-person company team meetup. So I'm looking forward to that. And imminent, and I say imminent, I think maybe next week, maybe the week after, we are launching a new service. And I don't know if Mark's going to kill me or not, but I'll give you some hints. Starts with digital and ends with PR. So it's a digital PR service. Just tease you a little bit. It's traditional digital PR, which typically costs, we've seen competitors, the minimum packages are $5,000-$6,000. I mean, we're really good at taking services that other people are offering and doing them at economies of scale. And we'll be offering true digital PR, so true outreach to journalists via journalist database. So it's almost Haro reversed. Haro is where journalists send out requests. We're actually going to be proactively creating content, proactively doing surveys, proactively collecting data in your space, and then pitching journalists trying to get you featured in tier 1 news publications. So that will be, the details of that will be launched next week, maybe the week after, but definitely in time, within the next couple of weeks. And that is super exciting. I've not seen anybody do true digital PR outside of Haro for niche websites and cater to affiliate sites and niche websites ever. So I think there's a ton of demand. We've talked to some existing customers already to get their feedback, and they absolutely love it. So I'm sure when we launch, people will love it too. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about it more next week. I don't know. I don't even know if Mark wanted me to talk about it now, but he's not here. So if he didn't, don't tell
You
him.
spill the beans.
I know. If you are interested in becoming one of our early beta testers on this, by the way, head on over to the Niche Website Builder website and hit up the chat. Dave and Jordan and the digital PR team can talk you through what's involved and things like that prior to it actually going live. So we're looking for some beta testers, I guess, is what I'm saying. Heading over if you want to be part of that. And that's it. That's a wrap for this week. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week and weekend.